Dealing with difficult people. And this is a tough one, right? Because we've all had to do this, and we all know how difficult literally it can be to deal with difficult people. People that are just argumentative and combative, and it's just like the thought of interacting with them almost makes your blood boil a little bit. And it's not an easy thing, but what are some things that you can do to be able to manage these situations and to be able to handle it better? And the first thing is to simply listen and to stay calm. And I know it sounds so very simple, but the listening part of it, I ask this question to groups that I speak for all around the country, and I say, how many people of you think you are great listeners? And without a doubt, probably 98% of the hands will go up. So we all think we're great listeners, whether we are or whether we aren't. But the key here, especially if you're dealing with a difficult person, is you're listening without the intent of formulating any response. So you are really listening. Just sometimes people are difficult because they just want to be heard. Like they just want to be acknowledged, and they just want somebody to quite honestly listen to them. So when you're listening, you're not thinking about what am I going to say next? How am I going to respond to this? No, you are really focusing on what the person is saying, because a lot of times that's all that difficult people want, is they just want to be heard. And then you got to stay calm. Like the worst thing that you can do, especially if you are in an emotionally charged situation where it's getting kind of heated, is to try and fight fire with fire, where you go back and you kind of, okay, this person's combative, so I'm going to go back in a combative way. I promise you that's only going to cause more problems than it's worth. So stay calm, take long, slow, deep breaths, and really listen without trying to formulate any type of response. Just focus on what the person is saying. So that's the first thing that absolutely has to happen. And then the second thing as you're listening is, I don't believe that anybody was born out of the womb to just be a difficult person. Like, I just feel like being difficult today. So, you know what? I'm going to be an ass when I'm talking to this person, for lack of a better term. Like, there is an underlying need, and that's really the second point, is to seek to understand and to understand what the hidden need is and what someone wants out of a situation. Like, again, we're not just difficult for the sake of being difficult. Like, there is a reason behind it. So as you're listening to the person and really focusing on what they're saying, it's one of our basic human needs is to feel, it was one of the principles of highly effective people, seek to understand and then to be understood. Like, people want to feel like they're understood as far as what they are saying. And honestly, normally I would encourage using the language like, I understand where you're coming from, or understand what you're going through. But truthfully, if somebody's really being combative and difficult, sometimes that's the last thing that they want to hear, because they'll just be like, well, BS, you don't understand what I'm going through. You don't understand what this is. So it's actually, again, in the essence of just letting them vent and letting them get some things off their chest, don't use the words, I understand. Actually say, I want to understand this better. Tell me more. And just let them go and let them vent. And as they're doing that, seek to understand what is this person really looking for and what is the hidden need. So those are the first two things. And really those are, I guess, more passive things as far as kind of letting the difficult person just do their thing. But then the last part is to set limits and to set boundaries. Sometimes, quite honestly, it can be a weakness. It can just be a blind spot for people. Like, I would guarantee if you think of a difficult person that you've ever met, that you've had to deal with, or someone that you have to deal with on a regular basis, a lot of times they don't even know they're a difficult person. And after you've let them kind of vent and get things off their chest, just then when they're a little bit more receptive to it, bring it to their attention and just say, you know what? It's not okay the way that you're handling this situation. Like, it's not cool the way that you're communicating with this or the way that you handled that. And again, a lot of times people will be kind of like, wow, I actually didn't even have the self-awareness to know that I was being difficult or to know that that's what I was doing. Trust me, I've really seen this a lot where we just think that difficult people know that they're being difficult. A lot of times they don't. total weakness, total blind spot for them. But you can't bring that to them right off the bat before listening and before staying calm and before understanding that human need, because then you're going to have that combative part. And again, it's going to be confrontational. It's just going to add more problems. So you follow those three basic things. I'm not saying it's going to be perfect. I'm not saying it's going to be roses and rainbows, but if you stay calm, if you listen, if you seek to understand that hidden need and what they really want out of a situation, and then if you set those limits and boundaries and kind of make people aware of what's acceptable and what's unacceptable, I promise you're going to be a lot better off. Have a great day.